With Chelsea assets failing to deliver yet again, a double game week and fixture swings on the horizon, is game week 7 the perfect week to be hitting that wildcard button? Starting off our game week 7 wildcard team, we have gone for Areola, one of the most impressive goalkeepers over that time period, yet to keep a clean sheet, but has been consistently picking up save points, bonus points, and with a good fixture run for West Ham coming in around game week 10 up until around game week 15. They also, as you can see, play Sheffield United at home in game week 7, which off the back of this Newcastle performance is only half time in that game and they're already winning 3-0. You imagine a quality side like West Ham is going to have no issues dispatching of a very poor Sheffield United side. You'd hope as well he can keep a clean sheet. We do have both 4 million goalkeepers on the bench. Turner, the next 3 fixtures for Nottingham Forest are actually quite nice as well, so I definitely think when Areolas do turn, you can easily slot in Turner. I don't think he's put a foot wrong yet, so doesn't have like any reason for him to potentially be dropped, and it looks like Areola has very comfortably nailed himself as the Premier League goalkeeper for this season. And I think sometimes we get into this scenario where we chop and change our goalkeepers, kind of try to play the best fixture possible with them, and it doesn't always quite work out. We've seen this a few times where Areola has had the worst fixture over some of our other goalkeepers. We've benched him and he's come away with massive points. Very similar situations with Leno as well this season, picking up huge mammoth scores just from saves, never mind clean sheets. So it's a little bit of a different kind of approach from me. Usually I kind of look for goalkeepers that have the potential to keep clean sheets, but it seems like these ones that have the save points and, you know, can get a clean sheet on top of that can haul massively over these other ones. And I definitely think Areola and Turner do fit in that bracket, so that's why I've gone for them as the goalkeeper pairing. Moving into the backline, we have gone for Sven Botman. Scored in the first half against Sheffield United. Like I said, this is being recorded at half time in that game, so if he has come off injured or any other kind of circumstances have happened, please just skip past this bit. But I have gone with him as I do think he is arguably one of the best options that you can go for from this Newcastle defence. Prior to this game week, Trippier hadn't really put up any good underlying data. Yes, he's now come away with 2 assists in this game so far, maybe more on the horizon, but I think Botman, for the value, that 2 million less, I do feel he's a little bit more nailed as well. They've got Timo Livramento. I expect him to play in the Carabao Cup and start to be integrated within the team, start to get more games as, you know, cups progress, Champions League, other league fixtures as well. So I think with the centre-back pairing, Botman and Shaw, I think they're going to be nailed and playing a lot more games than the kind of wing-backs Trippier or maybe Dan Burn as well, because they've got Hall on that side as well who can easily come in. So I definitely think there's going to be a bit more rotation. Good fixtures for the next few for Newcastle as well. So definitely a team that I'm wanting to look to invest in. I think in the attacking areas is a little bit more difficult. You know, it's very much like Manchester City. Lots of rotation, lots of quality players. So I think if you go for a Sven Botman or a Trippier, if you're looking down that route, I think that is perfectly acceptable. Moving on to our next defender, and it is Kabore. After this game week, he is going to be sat on our bench doing absolutely nothing. A 4 million playing defender. It's what every good team needs, but with a double game week, Everton and Burnley, it's absolutely amazing. Picked up a very fluky assist in game week 6 for the Carlton Morris penalty, but you know what? We take it. Those are the points that we need to have. Going into this double game week as well, Everton and Burnley, it's one of them. I think it's a bright game week where definitely Luton will see these 2 fixtures as potential to get points out of, but I did watch the Luton game against Wolves yesterday. Even when Wolves went down to 10 men, I wasn't overly impressed with Luton's overall performance. Kabore and Morris were probably only 2 real standout players within that side, and the only 2 that I would ever look to invest in. So that is why I've gone for Kabore. I think he's just going to, after this week, sit third sub. He at least plays games, so he's going to come in. He's got good underlying data as well in terms of expected goal involvement, so he's not a bad option for the double game week. And like I said, it is a double game week. You always want to try and take advantage of these where you can. Moving on to our final defender, and it is Matty Cash, one of the highest scoring defenders so far in this season, has been absolutely ripping it apart. And the reason we've brought him in is Villa's fixtures after game week 8 are a triumph. Wolves, West Ham, Luton, Nottingham Forest, Fulham as a run there up until game week 12 is absolutely ridiculous. I think Cash as well and Digne have both looked extremely bright and so attacking. The positions that they're getting into with this kind of inverted wing-back role that that Emery has them playing is so good. I think he has the potential to get another massive mega haul this season as well, with the attacking play style that he plays, with the system that he's in. So I definitely think along this good fixture period, Villa is a team you need to be looking to invest in, and Matty Cash is one of the best defenders within the game. My only concern around Villa assets is obviously they are playing Europa Conference League on Thursdays. There is going to be a little bit of in and out, but I feel like Matty Cash has secured himself a first team place. And the other Villa player that we are going to talk about as well. I feel these guys are staples of kind of the starting 11 for the Premier League side. Moving into the midfield, and it is a man who scored a wonder goal this week. It is Bruno Fernandes. Quite a controversial pick to have in here, but I think you've got to stick with him. The underlying data has been great. I know United's performances haven't quite been at the level that a lot of people have expected, but I think with Rasmus Højlund kind of joining that attacking lineup, I think they have looked a lot more fluid, a lot like better of an attacking output as a whole. But you know, they just haven't looked amazing. But I think the fixtures are there. And like I always say, fixtures do breed form, so you always want to try and target the best fixtures that you possibly can. With Bruno having penalties as well, all it takes, we saw this from Morris this week, if you get a lucky penalty, you score it, you get free bonus, absolutely happy days. But he has got that kind of ability to do so much more. But the fixtures, Crystal Palace, Brentford, Sheffield United, then City, not easy, but then Fulham, Luton, Everton, a great little stack there to target with the Manchester United players. Absolutely brilliant. Some of the worst defences in the league over that period as well, so definitely a team you need to be looking to kind of stick with and invest into eventually. The performances will come with these good fixtures, so do hold faith if you do have some United players. That would be my personal advice for this week. Moving on to our second Villa player of this wildcard draft, and it is Diaby. I'm very tempted to try and get this man into my team. Obviously Brian Mbeumo has been a little bit cold over the opening couple, over the past few game weeks, should I say. Over the opening couple he was great. Now he's kind of cooled off a little bit. It looks like Brentford are having a little bit of kind of identity crisis, a little bit of an injury crisis as well starting to happen. Their fixtures as well aren't the worst, but I definitely think Villa's, like we went through with Matty Cash, are a much better set of fixtures, and that is why I want Diaby. I thought he was quality today against Chelsea as well, picking up that assist. Like I said, I think he is going to be a player that's probably going to come off around the 60 to 80th minute mark with European competitions in full swing, but he looks so good, so attacking, so dangerous, and to get him as a midfielder is an absolute steal. So I definitely think he could be a great option for this long Villa fixture run that is coming up. Moving on to our next midfielder, and it's a man who impressed in the North London derby. It is Bukayo Saka. Bournemouth away for him next. The fixtures after that, City, not the greatest of fixture, but anything could happen in that big game. Then Chelsea, I don't think that should be a grey. I think that should be a green at the moment. Then Sheffield United, then Newcastle, then Burnley, then Brentford. So some really good fixtures. He seems to be a very key part of Arteta's plans on penalties as well, and is absolutely just one of my favourite players to watch in world football right now. So I'd highly suggest having Bukayo Saka in your side. Another player who impressed in the North London derby, of course, it is Son from Spurs. Now, obviously, Liverpool at home isn't a great fixture, but we saw that Spurs do still have the attacking intent to score against top teams. Liverpool as well haven't looked very good defensively at the start of this season. That super high line that they are playing, there's definitely room to exploit, and I feel like Spurs, with the pace and the quality that they have on the transition, definitely have players that could exploit that Liverpool high line. As well, what you get with Son and other Spurs players that you might want to invest in, we've gone for Adoji on the bench here, is you get Luton, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Chelsea, Wolves and Aston Villa after that. And then as well, just the cherry on top, we don't have any European football or Carabao Cup for Spurs, so they pretty much are probably going to be playing a very similar starting 11 every single week. You imagine players like Son and Maddison are going to be in that starting 11 every single week. There's no kind of worries around rotation, so I think these are excellent assets to have within your side. Moving on to a man that I'm trying to get back into my team. I sold him a few weeks ago. It is Mohamed Salah. Now, Liverpool also have a huge fixture swing coming up in game week 9. Everton, Nottingham Forest and Luton, and Brentford as well, who haven't been amazing. The next two are a little bit difficult, Tottenham and Brighton, but he's been a very consistent asset so far this season, just picking up the singular return every single game week, which, you know, it gives me vibes to Harry Kane. I don't think he's still quite justifying that 12.5 million price tag, but when you get a player that's just constantly returning, you know, he's such like an EO killer as well. I couldn't believe how massively detrimental he was to my EO today when he scored. So I definitely think he is a player that you need to be considering, especially around those fixtures. Obviously as well, if you look at game week 10, he plays Nottingham Forest, then City play Manchester United, sorry. He plays Luton in game week 11 and City play Bournemouth. So there's the potential there to go against Haaland. Maybe if you're trying to claw back a little bit of rank, Salah against Luton should be an absolute feast. I think as well in the North London derby, what was shown was that Adoji's kind of lack of awareness when it comes to the top quality of players is definitely on show, to be honest. You know, Saka was pulling his pants down at times. You imagine another top quality player like Mohamed Salah on that right hand side could have very similar devastating effects for Liverpool and, you know, at the detriment of Spurs. Right, finishing up, let's take a look at our front line. Of course, we've got Erling Haaland. I'm not going to waste your time on this. He is missing quite a lot of big chances at the moment, not putting up mega scores, but again, very consistent performer, absolutely smashing his underlying data. Like I said, at some point, he is going to get a mega haul. Wolves away is a great fixture as well to be targeting. I haven't been overly impressed with Wolves over the opening couple game weeks, so I think I would just go Haaland captain. Keep it very simple. Don't go for any of the doublers. Just stay with Haaland, stay with the pack early on. We will get chances to go differential with our captain a little bit later on in the season. Right, finishing up the starting 11 is a man that I brought into my team this game week and absolutely rejoiced when he scored the most luckiest penalty I've ever seen. It is Carlton Morris. He's in here for the double, Everton and Burnley. The reason I've gone for him is I just think you've always got to target these double game weeks. Like, even if they're a bit crap, you've still got to try and get players in just to take full advantage of them. That's my personal advice. That's the way I'm seeing it. And I think Carlton Morris has the highest kind of upside to be involved in goals or any kind of attacking actions for Luton, to be honest. Of all the 3 goals that they've scored so far in the Premier League, he's been involved in every single one. They're not a high scoring team, but Everton and Burnley, they haven't been overly impressive either. If you look prior to this game week, a lot of people were saying that Everton game is absolutely, you know, golden. Obviously now with off the back of that 3-1 win, I think they are starting to grow a little bit more in confidence, so it might be a little bit more of a difficult task, but you know, we'll wait and see. Burnley as well, I think they had a good first half against Manchester United. But again, still, I can still see Morris potentially coming away with a goal at least in one of these games. If not, you get him 4 points. It's not the end of the world. It's better than Nicholas Jackson. Now, come on. Come on. So that is the team. We'll have a quick run through of the bench. We've spoke about Turner. We've got Archer on here as the 4.5 million player. We've gone for Anderson, as Crystal Palace's fixtures are quite like mixed, but they have really good ones dotted in occasionally. So we'll rotate quite nicely with your other defenders in the team. You look at the next week after, it's Nottingham Forest, then it's Newcastle and Tottenham, but then it's a run of Burnley, Everton and Luton. A great set of fixtures, and Crystal Palace are one of the best teams for XG conceded in the league so far this season. Just having a little bit of an injury crisis, a little bit of confidence crisis as well around Crystal Palace at the moment. But I definitely think Anderson and maybe Gahey are the 2 defenders that I would look to invest in from that side. And then we've got Adoji. We've spoke about Spurs' good fixtures with Son coming up after game week 7. I definitely think he's a player that I want to have in those fixtures. Let me know what you think of this wildcard team. If you are wildcarding or have any general questions about double game week 7, get them in the comments and I will try to answer as many as possible. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe and do all that good stuff and help us hit 2,500 subs. But yeah, thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy the rest of your week.